Disclaimer: this video is not meant to start a hate war between Apple and its competitors. I'm only going to explain Apple's unnatural success and why it's justified. Anyway, anyone with an iPhone has come into contact with that one Android guy trying to convince them why Android is better. They'll usually pull out a long ass list explaining why these features on their Samsung Note 9 makes their phone superior. And what do the Apple users reply with?
Sometimes it's hard to break away from that ecosystem.
What is it about this ecosystem you're talking about?
Message, man, in the ecosystem.
Something along those lines. Yeah, Apple products do have a very distinctive design, but I promise you that's not even the reason why people buy their products. If you really want to understand what goes on behind Apple's curtains and behind the Apple customer's mindset, then stay tuned. Contrary to what most people think, Steve Jobs wasn't the only driving force behind Apple's beginning. There was indeed another Steve, Wozniak. He was more experienced with engineering and computers, and it was actually Wozniak who worked more on the intricate details and electronics in the first couple Apple computers. But beyond the intricacies, it was actually their vision that put them on the map. Back then, they were basically just thinking this: if they could figure out a way to get it in the hands of the individual, the computer would give nearly anyone the ability to perform many of the same functions as a vastly better resource company. This was their first revelation. The personal computer would level the playing field and change the way the world operated. But the truth is, no matter how visionary or how brilliant an idea is, it's not worth anything if no one buys it. This is where Steve Jobs came in. He knew exactly what to do. He did have some experience selling surplus electronics parts, but he would later prove to be much more than a good salesman. He wanted to do something significant in the world, and building a company was how he was going to do it. Upon the release of the Apple computers, they already passed the $1 million mark in revenue in their first year. By their second, $10 million in sales. By their fourth year, $100 million. And so in only 6 years, Apple Computer was a $1 billion company with over 3,000 employees. What's interesting is that these two were not the only smart guys in the business. In fact, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak didn't know much about business at all. And as weird as it sounds, what made Apple special was not their ability to build such a fast growth company. Remember, $1 billion in 6 years. And yes, while their motto was to think different about personal computers, it wasn't that either. What separated Apple from all of their competitors is that they've been able to repeat the pattern over and over. Apple has successfully challenged conventional thinking within the computer industry, the small electronics industry, the music industry, the mobile industry, and the broader entertainment industry. And the reason is simple: Apple starts with why. Apple's ability to design such innovative products so consistently and to command such astounding loyalty for their products comes from more than simply what they do. The problem is, organizations use tangible features and benefits to build a rational argument for why their company, product, or idea is better than another. But it's important to note, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Look at this in practical terms. There's nothing special about Apple. It's just a company like any other. There isn't a real difference between Apple and any of its competitors. Dell, HP, Microsoft, pick one. They're all corporate structures. They all make computers. They all have some systems that work and some that don't. They all have equal access to the same talent, the same agencies, the same consultants, and the same media. They all have some good managers, some good designers, and some smart engineers. They all have some products that work well and some that don't. Even Apple. Why then does Apple have such a disproportionate level of success? Why are they more innovative? Why are they more consistently profitable? And how did they manage to build such a cultish, loyal following? People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. It's not what Apple does that distinguishes them, it's why they do it. Their products give life to their cause. I'm not so idiotic to claim that their products don't matter. Of course they do. We've all held a MacBook in our hands. Just by holding it, you can feel the Apple-ness to it, whatever that means. Every product they release Whether it be the iPhone or the iMac, it demonstrates their why. Their why being to challenge the status quo. We are drawn to leaders and organizations that are good at communicating what they believe. Their ability to make us feel like we belong, to make us feel special, safe, and not alone is what gives them the ability to inspire us. And we feel a strong bond with those who are also drawn to the same leaders in the same organizations. Apple users feel a bond with each other. They know they belong together because they can feel it in their gut, and this behavior is deeply grounded in the evolution of human behavior. The power of why is not opinion, it's biology. Our brain consists of multiple parts that fit together like gears in this great machine that is you. One part, the neocortex, corresponds with the what level. The neocortex is responsible for rational and analytical thought and language. Look deeper and you'll discover the limbic brain. The limbic brain is responsible for all of our feelings, such as trust and loyalty. It is also responsible for all human behavior and all of our decision making, but it has no capacity for language. It is purely for that reason why putting our feelings into words is so hard. This is why Apple users have such a hard time explaining why they got their product. Most of the time, you'll make these decisions with your so-called gut. In conclusion, if you have a superiority complex over someone and think you're smarter than someone because you have that Samsung Note 9 with a better camera and that guy has a measly little iPhone, you're a clown.